Goodness.
Oh, God.
So you were going to tell us what you remembered about the Pecoras.
You ready?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, to begin with, it was Mariano Pecora and his wife Vincenza, and they had two sons, John and Joe, and I'll get back to them later.
Okay.
But they are the ones, I think, who sponsored the La Paglias coming over from Italy.
Yeah, I think you're right.
And when my mother and her brother Joe lost their parents, they lived with the Pecoras. And they were strict old Italians. And Mariano Pecora made his money with stills. He had two stills in West Virginia, as I understand it. And one blew up and killed a man, and he got out of that business. But they lived on East Street, which was 1 block long, and row houses with marble steps. And across the street, there was this huge brick wall, and behind it was the parking lot where the city kept all its trucks and equipment. And the sidewalk there was about 4 or 5 times wider than normal. So most often the women sat outside on the steps or on chairs on their side of the street. The men had tables and they played cards on the other side of the street. And it was like an Italian village. Everybody had a role. Somebody made wine, and Mariano made wine, and he made whiskey at home. And they had 2 big barrels that were cemented in the basement between his house and the other house, which was theirs as well. They had 2 houses together, and a doorway that went through from the kitchen. And the basement was filled with bottles, just racks and racks of bottles of wine and whiskey. And there was a pool table there. Anyway, that street...
No, it's Nose Road. I've blew my nose on it.
I can throw it away and wash my hands.
No.
That street was like
Thank you.
like I say, it was like a village, and everybody had their role. And I can remember the one woman who made cheese. Her name was Maruzza. That's the only one I can remember. But they took care of themselves. The police walked on the opposite side. They looked down the street, but they never walked down the street. Never came down that street.
Mm-hmm.
So it was interesting because Joe married a Jewish woman whose name was Irene.
And they didn't like that.
They didn't like that, and neither did the Jewish family.
Mm-hmm.
There was a show called A.B.'s Irish Rose that dealt exactly with that.
Yeah.
And so when the 2 kids came along, Mario and Virginia, then the families got together.
The
It was
grandkids.
just like the radio show.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so we went over there quite often. I would say sometimes twice a month, and the Aunt Virginia, my grand aunt Vincenza, when we walked in, she said, "Salvi, will you want a plum? Would you like an apricot? Would you like an orange?" No, thank you, no. Would you like a grape of soda? And she'd go through this litany. And they had a huge kitchen, smaller dining room, and of course the living room in front. And the old man, Mariano, would sit there, smoke unfiltered Camels, cough his brains out, so much so that one time he popped an eye out. But he would sit there like a king and drink whiskey and smoke. That's pretty much all he did, except when he was eating. Anyway, at some point in time, after the still, he and his brother, whose name I cannot remember, first name, had a small confectionery store pretty close to East Street. And it was also close to downtown. It was walking distance from what was the commercial district of downtown. And people would come there, young men, and they'd buy papers and they would buy food, I guess, and whatever. And the brother would ask them, "Are you in the stock market?" Well, how does the stock market work? How do you do it to make money? And he learned and he invested and he became quite rich. And he bought and owned a construction company, and he was the first one to start the Baltimore Beltway,
Oh.
the first section of the Beltway.
He was hired to do it?
Yeah, he built his construction company, built it. And I can remember he came after my father's death, came to visit my mother, and we were talking, and he was saying things like, I got a lot of problems. I got 4 cranes I got to sell, $1 million each, and he was complaining about his economics, which I never met his wife or his kids if he had any.
Interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, so with the boys, Joe was a cab driver, and he and Irene had Mario and Virginia. And they're the ones I played with whenever I went there. We played pool and we played games, and John could play the piano. They had an upright piano in the living room. John could play by ear, and all you had to do was hum or sing a few bars and he would play it.
Amazing.
And then we all had, every Sunday everybody had to entertain. John would play, Joe was a tap dancer. I would have to get up, there was a landing, the stairs went up sort of that towards the wall, and then there was a landing, and then it turned left and went upstairs.
So it was like a stage.
Yeah, exactly like a stage. So we would stand up there and I would sing and other people would do whatever they did. And that was entertainment. And then they would start eating dinner, Sunday dinner, around 2 o'clock. Usually lasted until 9. And soup to nuts, as my father used to say. And they would play rummy, cards for pennies. And it happens that they had a big console radio in the living room. And we kids would go in and listen to I Love a Mystery and the G-Men and the shows we liked. And then we got to the point, they bought one of the first wire recorders. So we got to the point we would make up scripts like we heard on the radio. And we'd play out the scripts and record it. And that was our entertainment. Now, interestingly, my mother used to tell a story about a man who used to beat his wife in that little village. And she said they tried to stop him, but he would drink and beat his wife. And then one day they all went on a picnic. So like 20 people went on a picnic and 19 came back. That's the way she used to say it. So they took care of their own, essentially.
They policed themselves.
They
The police
policed
didn't come
themselves.
in. They kind of,
Yep.
like you said, it was a village.
Yeah.
Took care of themselves. Took care of widows.
And they were just great people, I thought.
Yeah.
Now the old man, Mariano, he had a husky voice, obviously, from smoking and so forth. And he just sort of retired after the confectionery store. He just sat in a chair and smoked and drank.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, it does. Anyway, so Mario and Virginia and I, we used to play different games together and did the script thing, as I said, and played pool. And of course, we ate separately. We ate in the kitchen, and then we ran into the living room to play. And that's where we were on December 7th.
Oh, Pearl Harbor.
And yeah, so we announced to everybody else that.
Oh, you heard it on the radio, and then you told everyone else
Yes.
at dinner.
Exactly.
Wow.
And so that's one place I remember where I was on a certain date. What was interesting about Mario, he was in the A course at Poly. A course was like the upper course. They had an A course and a B course, and A course was like the smart kids.
Right.
So, and he worked part-time for a guy who had an electrical company. And the guy liked him very much. And as he grew older, and when he graduated, the guy had no sons, no children. He left the business to Mario. So he had automatically fell into a business with, I don't know, 10, 15 employees. And so he did very well. I don't know what happened to Virginia. I heard she got married, But at that point in time, we sort of fell out. We didn't see the Pecoras anymore. Jenza died. I remember going to her funeral. She was a stout woman with a round face, gray hair, always wore black dresses. And she was a very nice person. Now, the last time I saw my granduncle Mariano, it was at another funeral, and he came in with, I think, the two boys, and he was on oxygen and in a wheelchair. And he was more than 100 years old, I think. Either that or very close to 100. And he couldn't function anymore. But anyway, that was the last time I saw all of them. I never kept up with Mario or Virginia or
And no one contacted you when Mariano died?
No, I don't believe so. I don't believe
That's
I went
kinda
to his
weird.
funeral. So that was the Pecoras. And there was another Pecora, and this I don't know much about. I found out when we moved to Delaware that was a Pecora had a steel company in New Jersey. Whether he was related or not, I don't know. I never met him. I don't know if he was related to the other Pecoras or not. I don't know what happened to Joe. I don't know what happened to Irene. Oh, I left out John married an Indian princess, Hilda, and she was an alcoholic, and they never had children. So what happened to them all? Completely lost. I don't think my mother even kept up.
Right.
So,
It would be interesting to get on Ancestry, and you can put in messages for people if we found them on Ancestry, the younger ones, the ones that are still alive.
yeah.
And you can message them through there. They won't get a notification. It's just if they go into Ancestry, they'll have a message, and to reach out and.
Well, there's possibility Virginia and Mario are still alive. He was
Exactly.
younger
Right.
by a year or so, but she was younger by 2 or 3 years.
I mean, but the odds are probably not.
No,
very good.
she's married, got to change name,
Well, it'll come up. So Ancestry kind of shows you the person. You don't have to guess. It'll show you this is the daughter of, and it'll show you this is the.
But you never looked into Ancestry on the Pecoras at all?
Well, I did, but not. I think we just have Mariano and Vincenza, and I didn't go any further because their aunt, uncle.
We'll have to look again, because
Yeah.
I still have Ancestry, okay, of course.
That's pretty much, I think, what I know about them. I can't think of anything else.
Yeah. I mean, they were so important in Nanny and Uncle Joe's life because they basically raised them as teenagers. They were the ones that approved of them going out with whoever they went out with.
No,
and-
they
well, maybe didn't
Mariano required my mother to go out on a
with a
date
chaperone,
with a chaperon, which was her brother.
Joe, and he would go off.
And he was a ladies' man
I
anyway.
know, with a cigarette and
And he would
everything.
take off. Yeah.
Yeah. But she didn't meet your dad until she was later in life, like
No.
maybe early 30s, I think, at that wedding.
At the wedding of the Barbuskas. And they were first cousins. One was my father's first cousin, the other was my mother's first cousin.
Right.
And we were close to them too, over a period of time. We went to Atlantic City with them. They
Yeah.
had 2 daughters, Frances and Stella, and I was deemed to marry Stella,
Right.
which thank God I didn't. Anyway, that's about it. Anything else? Questions?
No, just whatever you want to share.
I've shared.
Yeah, you have.
That's it.
Thanks for sharing.
Yeah. Can't think of anything else. No. I mean, I can picture the place, the locale, and everything.
You have
the
a good
people.
memory.
I can still picture the people. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's neat.
Oh, one other thing I should mention is, John at one point had a pet store.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And he had a favorite English bulldog, and she just had pups. But he would bring dogs and cats home from time to time to nurse them, I guess. And one time he came in with this little puppy. I don't know what kind of dog puppy. And his favorite dog, whose name I can't remember, bit him. He took the dog out in the backyard, took a pistol, shot the dog, and tears were just running down his face. He was crying so much, but he could not. I cannot allow my dog to bite me.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and then what was interesting too, I think, was that I don't know what he did after that, because that was all his job was. Because Joe was the cab driver. I remember that. Anyway, pretty much the end of the story.
Okay.
Pretty much it.
Yep.